Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video where we learn grade 9 math. In this video, we're continuing our topic on square roots and simplifying them. Something to note very quick first is that square roots have two other names that are used for them. One of them is radicals, and the other one is surds as well. So whether they're called surds, radicals, or square roots, we're talking about the same thing, which is a number that when you multiply it by itself gives you basically another number, the square of that number. All right, so today we're looking at three basic rules to deal with radicals or radical expressions in order to simplify them. The first rule is the square root of a squared equals a. So if you think about it, basically a square and a square root, if they're on the same number, they cancel each other out. So I wrote an example here using that rule, which is square root of 3 squared equals 3. And we can prove that very easily by actually solving this expression here. So let's do that. So square root of 3 squared, what is 3 squared? It's 9, right? And what is the square root of 9? It's 3. So the rule is correct. The second rule says the square root of two numbers multiplied by each other under the square root, a times b, for example, is the same as square rooting both numbers first and then multiplying them. So whether I multiply them first and then I square root that answer, or I separate them, square root them, and then multiply the answers together, I will get the same thing. To show you in an example, we have square root of 4 multiplied by 9, so they're both under one square root, and then I've separated them here. Again, let's do both sides separately and see if we get the same answer. So the first side, we'll do 4 multiplied by 9 first. Now what's 4 times 9? It's 36. So square root of 36. And then what's the square root of 36? It's 6. Okay? Let's look at the second side. Square root of 4 multiplied by square root of 9. So we'll square root them first. What's the square root of 4? It's 2. Multiplied by, what's the square root of 9? Is 3. And what's 2 multiplied by 3? It's also 6. So as we can see here, we got the same answer no matter what the order is. The third rule says the square root of a divided by b is also equal to the square root of a divided by the square root of b. So this is a similar rule to the second one, but it deals with division. So same thing again, whether we divide the two numbers first and then square root the answer, or we square root the numbers first and then divide, we will get the same thing. So again, let's try that here with this example. The square root of 16 divided by 4. Now what's 16 divided by 4? It's 4. So we're doing square root of 4. And what's the square root of 4? It's 2. On the other hand, we're going to square root first. So the square root of 16 is 4 divided by, what's the square root of 4? It's 2. And what's 4 divided by 2? It's 2. So as you can see here, we still got the same answer. All right, so with that in mind, we're going to use these rules in a couple of examples to show you how they work together to simplify expressions. Alright, we'll start with the simplest one, and then I'm making it a little more challenging every time to show you how we can actually use the rules. Alright, so the first says the square root of 26 multiplied by the square root of 5. Now, both are irrational numbers. They don't have rational square roots. Can you think of a number, an integer, that if you multiply it by itself you get 26? Or maybe you can get 5? No, doesn't exist. So we can't just square root them. So we'll use rule number 2 to bring them together under one square root multiplied by 5. And then on your calculator you do 26 multiplied by 5 and you will get 130. So we get the square root of 130. Now we still can't square root 130 without getting an irrational number. So this is actually what it looks like to simplify this question or this expression. This is the simplest thing we can write. Alright, okay? So this in itself is an answer. You don't have to actually get a number. You don't have to remove the square root. All you need to do is just make the expression look simpler than before. Alright, next one. Square root of 18 divided by square root of 2. Again, we can't square root any of these numbers separately. So let's bring them together under one square root using rule number 3. 18 divided by 2. Now we can divide 18 by 2. And 18 divided by 2 is 9. So we get the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is just 3. So we get 3. So using these rules, you can see we can go from a number that looks really hard to calculate to a number that is very simple without needing the calculator. Okay, third one. 3 square root 21 multiplied by 21 square root of 5. Now, what does it mean to have a number and a number in a square root right next to each other like that? Very simple, it just means they're multiplied, okay? We just remove the multiplication sign and we just write them next to each other. That's all. So what we can do here is just reorder the numbers first. So I'm going to, because they're all multiplied by each other, I'm just going to switch the numbers. I'm going to bring the whole numbers next to each other, 3 multiplied by 21, and then bring the square roots next to each other. Just group them a little differently. That's the first step I'm going to do. And then, very simply, I can just multiply 3 by 21. It's a simple multiplication. We get 63. Multiplied by, and for the second part here, these two square roots, I'm going to bring them under one square root using rule number 2. So I get 63 square root, and 21 times 5 is 105. That's it, that's my final answer. Right, last one for this video. 3 square root 5 divided by square root 75. Again, I see 3 right next to square root 5, which means they are multiplied. Okay, so what I can do here to start is bring these two square roots under one square root using rule number 3. So this is 3 multiplied by square root of 5 divided by 75. Okay, and the next thing I can do is divide 5 by 75. And what's 5 divided by 75? I get 1 over 15. And I can't forget the square root. So I get 3 multiplied by the square root of 1 over 15. Now, what is the square root of 1? It's 1, right? So I actually go from here to 3 multiplied by 1 over square root of 15. And what's 3 multiplied by 1? It's 3. So my final answer is 3 divided by square root of 15. And that's the kind of simplification we're looking for. That's the kind of thinking and process you need to do by using these rules to get simpler expressions. I hope this video was useful. Take your time, do watch it again, do some more exercises like these. And of course, as always, please subscribe, like this video, share it with other people, and I'll see you in the next one.